Bridget. So we're here today with Bridget from My Storage, and we're excited to get to know you and to feature your business and to learn a little bit about what you've been up to, what your team has been up to, and give our viewers and members a bit more scope as to My Storage. So I guess to get things started, tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization, and what's new and exciting these days for a group like My Storage.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Bridget. I am the district manager and the human resources coordinator for our entire company. I'm district manager for the GTA, and I've been with My Storage for about 5 years. I started in 2016 on the front end, and now I'm kind of here on the executive team, which is really exciting. And My Storage, right now, our main focus is staying relevant in a really saturated market, and keeping it non-contact because we've been deemed an essential service. So it's been the main focus of the last year has been stay open, stay positive, and maintain our business and try to actually continue to grow while the economy is doing its strange thing, right? So
Looking at your website and looking at some of your online materials, your page has a lot of overview of all the storage units that are currently available, which I find quite helpful, because then for a potential user, you can get a sense of what's available to you and where and what pricing, without having to do some of the more traditional in-person steps, scout a site and get out of the home. So tell me a little bit more about that, and how that's helped and how that's also assisted clients in figuring out exactly the right solutions and figuring them out quickly.
Yeah, I mean, when everything, we were headed that direction to take it more digital, take life in general within our company more paperless regardless. But what's happened in the last year obviously has been a rush to get there because it's necessity. We had to, if you listen to the CBC radio, the word that they like to use is pivot a lot, and we had to jump on that train. We went from being a far smaller, less used, less user-friendly almost website to that's exclusively where we have to, send our customers to contactlessly pay, to keep our staff. That's been our priority, is keeping our staff safe and employed at the same time. So it was a big leap in, for me as HR training, to make sure everybody is understanding of, what they can do. That we've changed our domain a lot. We've changed the ability to use our website in a lot of different ways where you don't necessarily have to deal with us in person. You can seamlessly just lease a unit and not have to see a single person, which for the introverts of the world is great, or for the business people who are in a hurry is great. But then it is still kind of a mix where you'll still see people that need to come by and see the facility, but we've managed to work in how we can still seamlessly do that as everybody's filling up for the summer.
That's great. Are there particular things that today's prospective or current users of storage space should know about in terms of changing dynamics within storage spaces, or changing protocols, and things that COVID or the last 12 to 15 months have required for groups like My Storage to change, and what different things, if any, a potential user should be looking for and considering when they're selecting a location to store their items?
Yeah, that's so multifaceted, but if there's anything, we keep safety as number one. So for the customers, if they're concerned about safety in terms of being here at our facility and being here using our services, just understanding that that's at the tip top of, every business that's running right now, that has to be at the forefront. So understanding that as a customer, when you are physically going to approach and use the facility, and most people at this point have understood that. So we're a 24-hour access facility where, we've done our best to make sure customers are aware that they do still have access to their units, along with, our biggest, what we would say is our biggest selling feature, is that we don't close down the access to our building. That, however, does come with the social responsibility, right, of our customers respecting one another, respecting the facility, and for the most part, they definitely have. If that answers your question. I think you said something else, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the other part of your question.
No problem. It was a bit of a loaded question, in terms of, COVID-19 and different, considerations that customers would have to make nowadays in choosing
Yeah. Well,
locations.
I'm sorry. I would say though that I mean there's it's twofold. If you have the ability and the understanding of you, because like I said, we have people from all walks of life. So if you do have access to internet services and all of those things, you can go that route, and it may be a little bit quicker, but it may be quicker also for them to still call us. We're still here in the office to be able to service our customers just as much, and understanding that some of those processes might be a little bit different, might take a little bit longer when you're moving. People are That's the biggest part of our industry, is the housing market and the moving market, right? So
Yeah.
people are often in a big hurry while they're moving. No matter how well you plan, moving is just never gonna go straight. And that's what I tell people
Right.
on the phone probably 12 times a day. But we'll still do our best to expedite those processes storage
Yeah.
wide across the board. I would say even to my competitors, one of the things that we can offer is some solace and some organization to the disorganization in that regard. But it
Yeah.
sometimes could take a little bit longer. Also, storage facilities, because we have become such a saturated market and a really, really heavy supply and demand type of situation, it could be that booking storage units right now is actually very, very difficult to get something
Yeah.
available. Yeah, yeah.
Now, is there anything, and just as we start to wrap things up here, are there any particular things that a customer should know about my storage going forward, and what makes my storage the best storage solution in a particular neighborhood that you are in, beyond and or in addition to all the great things you've mentioned already, like your very personal connection with clients, your very customized and tailored solutions from client to client. Is there anything else that a customer should know about and keep in mind when choosing my storage as their provider?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to self-storage as an industry, people, less so now than they used to be before, but people were a little bit distrustful of the industry on a whole. And that would be because there were so many independent contractors that put a bad taste in people's mouths about using the service. And I think that that's probably part of the industry trend, is that it's become a little bit more tailored to professionalism and sticking to what you say and all of those things. And I think, I mean, I'm the biggest advocate for my storage as a company and as a brand. And the first thing that I ever tell any of my new associates as they're training is believe in our brand, because what we offer is the most packaged service for what people will pay for the service. Essentially, we see competitors coming for us in terms of offering some of the similar services. And I mean, not to get like egomaniac-y about it, however, some of those other businesses didn't offer what we have offered since the get-go. When I started with my storage, none of the features of what we offer with our storage units have changed, and we don't intend to. I mean, if anything, I would imagine we would add to them, but rental trucks and moving trucks and insurance and those kinds of things are always something that we've never been not transparent about in terms of what we do and do not charge you for. And we lump all of these things in for our customers to make it one transaction as opposed to 12 and 15. There are other competitors on the market that will still play some of that, I mean, quote unquote, and I don't mean it in a bad way, corporate, shady practices, where there are hidden fees, there are hidden transactions that will come up with some of the bigger brands. And I won't, defame any of my competitors because, they're just as good. But I am aware of the companies that will do that, or, offer you one thing, and then that one thing will look very different in 6 months. Whereas my storage will be very transparent. We're very communicative, and that, I'm hitting that point that you said. Besides that, but none of those things have changed in terms of we're going to give you one lump sum of the best on top of what we offer as people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and that actually answers much of my follow-up question, which was going to be what your favorite part of working with my storage is. But I get the sense that much of it is being people-centric and getting to know your customers as best as possible, and being a part of a team that also does the same.
Yeah, and I would say the extension to that, I mean, I would say that what people don't know about my storage, probably like public knowledge, is now like, newspaper articles about us, is that we're a female-driven and run management team. We are a bunch of women that came together with very different backgrounds in our professional lives. and have been encouraged, we've been pushed, we've been taught and coached and all of the other things, but I don't know if necessarily I want to like gender it to that's why. There is so much of that personal interactional, aspect to dealing with our staff team, but my favorite part has been that I was able to be a young woman that was encouraged directly by the CEO. I've sat, across the table with everyone on the executive board that just allowed me to pursue new things within the company. And we continue to do that with even our front end team, and that has never held us back. And that's just been the best part. We talk about it often, how great it is that we get to be young women that get to be in control and then also be part of, a really great team of women in management, which I think that that's a big driving thing to where our brand sits now and sat even then. Like when I first started and I was a kid, like I don't know, 23, 22, and now I get to be 5 years later a lot more than I had intended, and we create career paths for young women that didn't necessarily have that.
Your organization seems to be doing a lot of great and exciting things.
Yeah, we think so too. The only last thing I would say to anybody who wants to be a potential customer of self-storage is just be, a present consumer. Like get what you need for what you pay, whether it's My Storage, which it should be, but whether it's us or our competitors, look for the best for your money because it's out there. Whatever you need in self-storage is available. It's all about asking the right questions, and sometimes just letting the self-storage companies lead the way doesn't always necessarily feed that. So encouraging consumers to just continue to keep their head about them and get what they want, because even during COVID you can still get everything you want. It's just a matter of maybe, like I was saying, maybe you need to take an extra minute longer when you're in a rush to make sure that everything goes the way that it can be.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, I think. Yeah. And I would certainly encourage customers to look at it that way and to scrutinize and to get the best possible deal. So that's some great advice from you. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and it's been great connecting with you.
Yes, you as well.